Today's lesson, the easiest piano improvisation technique. So it's very easy because it's very easy to play technically. A lot of times when people are learning how to improvise the first time, they overcomplicate things and they try to play something that's way beyond their level, and it takes time, honestly, to get the hang of improvisation. And you want to stick with something very simple, very easy to reproduce, and very easy to experiment around with. So this is the little thing that I came up with. I didn't really come up with it. It's just like, something that I thought would be really good for this. I didn't invent it, but we'll take a look here. Okay, so, hey, Rich is back here again. Welcome out to the live stream, Rich. If anybody makes any strange comments today, which had happened earlier, please ban them or block their comments. Would be much appreciated if you could. Okay, so here we go. Okay, I already kind of went over that. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to start by playing an arpeggio for the chord with the left hand, and then the same an octave higher. Cross and then play the arpeggio for another octave. And I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Actually, I think this view would be even better for that. Stellarim's back again as well. Stellarim is another moderator here on the live stream and faithful student. Okay, so what I mean by this is the first thing we need to go over are two things. What is a chord and what is an arpeggio? Two pretty simple things to understand. As you'll find out at the end of the lesson, I'll redirect you to a playlist where you can learn more about chords. But three chords we're talking about today. A chord, and especially a triad, is a three-note chord. It's just three notes being played at one time. That's the simplest explanation for those of us who aren't an expert in this already. But you play, to play a C major chord, you start on C, and you just, skip that key, play the next white key, skip that key. So you're playing every other key and playing them all at once. That's C major. That's one of the chords we'll be talking about. Then you have F major, F, A, and C. And then you have G major, G, B, and D. So those are the three chords we're going to be talking about today. C major, F major, and G major. Now, to go over what an arpeggio is really quick. So if you play the notes all together, that's a block chord. And if you play them separately, that is an arpeggio. So what you want to do is you want to start with our C major chord we just talked about. And you want to start from the left hand. And you want to start the arpeggio bottom up. And then go to the right hand. And you want to get pretty smooth at that. And then you want to cross over your left hand. And do it again. And then you want to hit, you can't quite see here. Actually, let me play it down here. Cross over. And then you want to hit just that C up there. And then you want to come down, crossing your finger or your hands down until you hit the bottom note there with your left hand. So again, you play, first of all, you play C major arpeggio, left hand, right hand. You cross and then you do the exact same thing. You hit the note you started with, but just, at the top there, and that's the only one you're going to play. And then you come back down. Just like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to move to F major, which starts on F, as if you remember. And then you have F, A, C, F, A, C. Same technique as before. And then just practice going between those two chords. Now I understand when you first start practicing this, you won't be able to do it as fast as me, and that's okay. So here's the second chord we talked about. Next, we're going to move to one more chord, the G major chord. It's just one set up from there, G, B, D. And then you're going to cross your hands the same way and do the exact same thing with this third chord here. So then practice doing those three sets. I'm going to play play a little faster so we can get through it here in the video. Remember, you'll have to play it slower probably. And then lastly, you just go back to the first chord again and it goes in a loop. Practice that until you get really good at it, because that's basically what we're going to base the entire thing on. One thing that really helps is if you use the pedal with it. And what I would do is when you press down on the pedal here, I don't have the camera to show you, you hold down the pedal when you start, and then you want to pop up the pedal really quick when you hit that top note, and then you press it back down, and that'll make sure the notes don't blend together. And then when you change chord, you do that again. And then back to C. So adding it in the pedal adds in a little bit of depth, but you have to do it properly. Like I said, you have to pop up the pedal real quick at the top and at the bottom of the arpeggios to make sure that the notes don't blend together. Now here's the second part. We're just going to move, I'm not even going to go to the slide, I'm just going to move right into the second part here, what I want you to do. This time, I want you to experiment adding different chords and replacing different chords. So you almost always want to start and end with the C major. And that gives you what's called a tonal center. It just makes it sound like it's headed somewhere. So you always want to begin and end on C major. If you know a little bit more about music theory, you can do other things. But for right now, just stick to that to make it easy. So what I want you to do, though, is I want you to replace the chords we did with other chords, except for the C major. So you start on C major. And next, instead of maybe the F major, I'll do something maybe like D minor, which is just all three white keys on D. And then maybe, you know, like B flat major. And experiment with different combinations to see what you can come up with. These are called chord progressions, and you want to write these down so you can keep track of them. So if you come up with a really good one, you want to write it down. You also want to share in the comments with us so we all know what your method is and your awesome chord progression. I would love to hear some of the ideas the community and the students out there might have. So here we go. So I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to choose different chords this time. I'm going to start and end on the C major though. And then maybe I'll go to F major again. Maybe like A flat major. Ooh, that sounds good. And remember, you always want to go back to the C major. It makes it sound like you're in the key of C major. So like I said, it gives you tonal center. So let's try another one. Let's try C major. This time I'm gonna try to play it a little more fluid, so you get the idea. Here's a D major chord. I did a G major, so I only replaced one of them that time, but it still sounds pretty good. And there you go. Okay. So triad, Fuddy Duddy says, so triads F, A, and C over and over, or C, E, G over and over. So yeah, but you want to move from one to the other. So you want to start on C. And yeah, and you do C major over and over. You come back down, you finish out C major, you start on F major, the next chord, and then you go through until you go through all of your chords. Let's see here. Rich has a suggestion. I'll try this here in a second. That exercise is like the Final Fantasy VII Prelude. Indeed, it is. Jimena. Yeah, I think I got your name right. Hola. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Welcome out to the classroom. So happy you're here with us today. But that's playing more with pentatonic scales. Okay. So triads. Yes. Fireflower. Welcome back to the live stream, Fireflower. Always glad to have you with us. Let's try out Rich's suggestion. So we're going to do C major. A minor. F major. Is that the prelude to Final Fantasy VII, Rich? It sounds familiar. But it sounds similar to it, too. I'm not sure, though, if it is the right one. Okay. Next, you can start using different combinations of rhythms with it. So in addition to experimenting around, once you make a list of your 4 or 5 favorite chord patterns or chord progressions, then you want to try them out with different rhythms. So instead of playing them maybe all in triplets, maybe like, and then you can also play the notes out of order. So instead of playing them from the bottom to the top, you can play them like bottom, top, middle, top. Do like maybe like I don't know the name for it. It's called lilting, or it's even like kind of a swing, almost like you're like riding on a horse. And then you can just maybe like hit a chord at the end. So experiment around with some different things. As you can see, you can change up the rhythm. You can even change out the pattern of notes instead of playing them from the bottom to the top. So those are some useful tips for you. Get really creative with it. It takes one of the major keys of getting good at improvisation is doing it more often and experimenting. A lot of the things you come up with, especially at first, are not going to sound good at all, or you might get like little tidbits that sound good, and then you'll have a lot of it that sounds bad. So what you want to do is you want to learn from your experiences of practicing this, and you want to figure out what sounds good, what little tricks you can learn, and really practice this every day, maybe for a month or two. I practice the B-flat blues that I play, almost every single day. If I tell you right, it's like the tumbleweed song, that kind of thing. But you want to practice it every single day, and you will start to get better. And write down, little things that you notice, because when you write things down, you will remember them a bit better, or so they say. I found it to be true. I read a lot of articles that say it's true, so try it out. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. Okay, back to odd. Oh. Okay, I think now we're back. Okay, there we go. Okay, so community question. I really want to know. Experiment around with this technique. After experimenting with some different chords, what are some patterns of chords that you came up with? Share them with us so we can try them out on our own, and that we can, all come together and develop a really awesome, technique and share with one another. That's what it's all about. Okay, I'm going to do the outro in a little bit. I'm going to address some questions here, since that's pretty much it. Okay, let's see. That's it, Tim. Okay, so I got it. Okay, any other questions about what we talked about today? practice it out, try it out. Like I said, once we started at first, it didn't sound like much. But once I added the pedal with it, experimented around with different chords, added in different rhythms, it started to sound a lot better. Let me even like experiment around with it some more just for fun while we're all here. There we go. So all I didn't play all the octaves, I just stayed on C major. And then did I just played the chord with my left hand, and then broke up this rhythm with my right hand. Bump, ba-da, bump, ba-da, bump. So there you go. So there is what you can do. It's just experimenting around with it for a few minutes. Now, yours might not sound as good as mine right away. It might sound better than mine if you're a real natural at it, but it will take time. So you may find it frustrating at first, but seriously stick with it and you can do amazing things just with this simple pattern. Just experimenting around with it, taking it apart, rearranging it around, combining other things with it. So start out simple and then make it a little bit more complex as you go. Okay, anything else from anybody? The chat. What's going on with you, chat? Okay. Back again. All right, so looks like we had, the comment from Rich. We had Fuddy Duddy, and that pretty much does it, everybody. Do you have any questions about anything we talked about tonight? I guess just let me kind of tell you what's coming up here and show you what that's all about. So we have the simplest piano improv technique. We are meeting on Sunday for our normal, get-together Q&A, so feel free to bring me any questions you have about learning the piano to that. And then we're off the next Friday, back to the Sunday. Piano songs to learn for hand independence is what is coming up on June 16th. And then we have another community Q&A. The roadmap for beginners learning how to play piano is on June 23rd. So those are just some of the topics that are coming up. Remember, you want to go to pianolessonsontheweb.com to learn more about that and click on the community tab. Oh, Rich, I did miss your question. Let me take a look. Okay. Ba-ba-da-ba. Rich says, Tim, did you ever have a problem being a perfectionist when playing piano? It seems to stifle my growth as a player. I always feel like my dynamics are wrong. For example, so it's a good question. Do I have a problem with being a perfectionist? Sometimes. Sometimes. What I find helpful actually is to come back to certain pieces that I'm playing. So say I'm trying to get a piece, perfect. I'm trying to get all the rhythms down, trying to get all the dynamics down, something like that. And I've been working on this piece for a while. Sometimes what helps me is if I practice something different for a few days. I'm still practicing, but I'm just shelving that one piece for a couple of days and then coming back to it with a fresh mind. And a lot of times I find that I can just think about it a bit more clearly then because I gave myself some time to just kind of break away from thinking about all the little details. A lot of times when I come back to it after a few days, maybe 4 or 5 days, after practicing something different, that I'm able to look at it at a fresh new way and able to correct some of those mistakes I had before. You can't be too much of a perfectionist when learning how to play the piano. Some people are, and I know it's just the way some people are. You just gotta get it right. So like I said, I think my tip will help you out with some of the problems you may be having in some of the pieces you have. It might not solve your problem overall with being a perfectionist. That's something you will have to figure out how to manage with playing the piano. I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to give advice that's like, well, don't be a perfectionist, but it's like I know it's not easy at all, so it's hard for me to give good advice on this. I'm a perfectionist about certain things. I want to make the lessons on the channel as good as possible, and then of course, like my dad said when he was working on his classic cars years and years ago, he would say, when you work on something, you see all the little imperfections in it. But most people, when they look at it, they don't see that. I mean, unless they spend a lot of time around it. But most people don't see all the imperfections you see. So I guess just try to keep that in mind when being a perfectionist is that you are probably being too critical and perhaps others wouldn't notice as much. But like I said, I think that little tip in terms of how to approach the pieces will prove effective. It's really worked for me in the past. I get to be a perfectionist when I'm preparing something for a concert. That does happen. If I'm just practicing on my own, I'm not as much of a perfectionist. I try to make everything as correct as possible. But if there's just something that's really getting to me, like I said, I just kind of distance myself from it and then come back to it later. And it especially happens when I'm getting something ready for a recital. It has been a while since I've done that. I will post the recital video very soon. Once we get closer to 50,000, I might do it a little bit before, but not yet. I may put out a clip there, although I did show some live stream attendees a few weeks ago about that. But yeah, so yeah, I guess that's all the advice I have to give you for that one. Great question, by the way. Okay, what emoji? Are you giving me the finger? No, I'm just kidding. I don't think you are. But what is that? Is that like a gun? I hope. Thanks, Tim. I'll try that. Okay. You're welcome, Rich. That's true. People might not even notice the things I'm fixated on. Great advice. Yeah, I tried my best with that one because I know it's a lot of people just say, "Oh, well, basically, don't be yourself. Be somebody else and do something different." But I know it's a lot harder than it seems. So try that out. Let's see. Norris, any tips on memorizing scales and relative minors? Thanks in advance. Yeah, I could do a little bit of an explanation for that. I picked every view but the one I needed. Any tips on memorizing scales and the relative minors? Let me think this out first. This would make a good lesson. Okay. What I would do is I would start out with learning. I would learn like 2, maybe 3 scales a week if you don't know them already. And you'll have to go through and practice the scale. You can obviously buy a book of scales online, or you can look them up online. Pianoscales.org, I believe it's called, has a lot of the fingering and a lot of the notes for the scales. And what I would do is I would start with the key signature with 0 sharp, 0 flats. That's C major. Learn that scale first and just understand the layout of those notes. And then go 5 notes up. This is called the circle of fifths because you're going up a fifth every time you go to a new one. So the one with 0 sharp, 0 flats is C. You got 5 notes from C. That gives you G. G has a 1 sharp. You want to learn the G major scale then, because that kind of increases in difficulty. And then you want to do the D major. And then I would spend a week practicing those 3, and then I would learn 3 each week until you know them all. I would learn all the sharp keys. So to go over them real quick, you have C major, G major, D major, A major. This is the correct order, by the way, too. E major, B major, F sharp major, C sharp major, and that's all the sharps. Then you want to go through and learn F major, B flat major, E flat major, A flat major, D flat major, C flat major. Oh, I didn't play G flat major. So you play D flat major, G flat major, and then C flat major. And then learn them, like I said, learn maybe 3 at a time, spend a week on each one, and then play them as, like when you first sit down at the piano for the day as a warm-up, play through all of them just like I did, and play them all the time, and you'll learn them the best way that way. There's like little tricks to figuring out what key signature you have based on, like say you have 2 sharps, you learn the order of sharps, you say the last 2, you go to the last sharp and up 1. So there's little tricks like that. But in terms of actually understanding how the keys are laid out, I definitely recommend you memorize those scales. Let's see, in relative minor. So there's a trick for relative minors. So if you know the major, if you learn all the major ones we just talked about, so say you have D major. If you want to know the relative minor, you go down 3 half steps on the piano from the major. So you find the major first, D major, and go down 1, 2, 3, and that's your answer. B major is the relative. B minor, is the relative to D major. That's how I started to learn them, and then as I got more and more familiar with the keys, I started to have them by memory. Like I know that E minor has 1 sharp, F sharp, A minor has 0 sharps, 0 flats. Every once in a while I'll get a key signature where I actually have to think about it, like the one, let's say the relative to F sharp major off the top of my head. I mean, I could go down 3 half steps in my head. That would be D sharp minor. Yep, D sharp minor. So I would go through like that and then play pieces in these different keys. I know it's a really long-winded answer and there's no shortcut to it, but if you were really interested in mastering and getting these all, not just from memory, but by heart, as you can see, I could play through almost all those scales, almost no problems. I had a couple of flubs here or there that I would work out during my practice routine, but you could see that I just knew them like the back of my hand. Like 4 flats is A flat major or F minor. 2 flats is B flat major or G minor. 7 sharps is C sharp major or A sharp minor. Yeah, that was a little tougher. I gave myself a hard one. B minor is the same as D major, and be able to go the other way around. The 2 sharps in D major are F and C. So by practicing my scales and understanding that, I do have, I just, there's no other way around it. You have to do that to get the best understanding possible. I want to send you over to a lesson, though, that I think will help you out a lot. Okay, just give me a second, everybody, and I will send over the lesson. Wow, my lesson is third on the list. Oh, I am logged in, so maybe that's why. Okay, so that is a lesson on the circle of fifths and key signatures and mastering them based on the circle of fifths. That's a whole nother way of learning your key signatures, and then you can use a little trick to learn your minor key signatures as well. That one will really help you out with this. Okay, let's see. Pointing up emoji. Tim, you taught this before. You said count 3 half steps back from the major scale, and that gives you the relative minor. Yes. That is correct. Okay, hello Andre. Welcome out to the live stream. That was a great lesson. I agree. That was one of my best ones. It went really well. The students really liked it. It even did well on Reddit. And if something does well on Reddit, you know it must be good, because if you don't know anything about posting things on Reddit, people can be pretty critical on there. It isn't as friendly as YouTube, but you can get a whole new community of people to see your content that way. Thank you, says Norris. You're very welcome. All right, everybody. Let's see, 34. It finally made me understand the circle of fifths. Yeah, you know what? I'm in the works of coming up with some new lesson ideas, and one of them is actually based on a recommendation somebody in the live stream made. I don't quite remember who it was, but they asked if I could make a piano exercise designed to help you learn the circle of fifths. So this would also help with Norris's question. So, you know, I guess I could probably do the thing I did today, just going around the circle of fifths. But, well, that wouldn't really teach you the key signature. So I'm going to come up with something that, oh, you know what? I already did kind of come up with something. It was like a rhyme. You'll have to see what it is. I don't want to give it away until the lesson comes out. What's the subreddit that I posted the circle of fifths under? I think it was Music Theory. I posted them under a few subreddits. Music Theory, I think that was the one. That one did well in. And then I posted one about chord progressions, making up your own chord progressions, and I posted that one in the general music subreddit, which is really hard to get anything to rank on, and it blew up there. It got, I mean, for me, it's a lot. It was like 1,400 upvotes, which for me is good. I do post on piano, the subreddit for piano. Yeah, it's possible. You believe it or not, though, people on that subreddit don't like my videos for the most part. They like a couple of the videos, but for the most part, I post them, and people on there rip them apart. I don't understand why the people on piano. Well, I think I know why, because on that subreddit, it seems like that would be the perfect subreddit to post, you know, tutorial videos on, and some people do that, but it's really more. What I see more over there is people sharing like performances of playing the piano and having discussions about playing the piano, and a lot of times those don't do well as over there. Now the subreddit / learn music, why did I say slash? Subreddit learn music is the best one to post my videos on. Rich says, I have no idea what Reddit is. I must be old. The only reason I know what Reddit is because I run this YouTube channel. Otherwise, I definitely would not know. Okay, let's see. This is bothering me a little bit. Okay. Maybe that's good. Sorry, the microphone is getting in the way of the light, but now I think it's a little bit better. Still working those things out. Okay, so enough with the Reddit discussion. That link took me away from this live stream right on top of this video. Really? Right on top of this video. So I'm not sure about that fuddy-duddy. All right, any other questions about anything music related in general? Maybe any of the topics coming up or anything we talked about today. It's always been a pleasure talking with everybody here on the live stream. I always love the community we have here. If you felt like this lesson was helpful today, make sure to smash that like button. And of course, you want to make sure you are set up for notifications by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button and selecting all updates, and then YouTube will, at least should, let you know when we are meeting live. But we are meeting live Fridays and Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is the time. I have a couple of daytime live streams, but they're kind of at random times at the moment. Okay, I'm going to do an outro, but let me see first. Oops. Whoops. Okay, I really want you to check out the Learning Chords on the Piano playlist on the channel. It is in the description right now, I believe. Let me know if you forgot, but it should be in the description as we speak. I highly recommend you check that out next because it really goes along with the practice exercise I gave you today, because the more you understand about these major, minor, diminished, and augmented chords, the more you can use them in the technique we talked about. So it goes along just perfect. You want to check out that video or that set of videos next. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. We'd love to hear them. So this has been Tim from Lessons on the Web. Thank you so much for coming out today. It has been a pleasure teaching you once again, and I'll check you out in the next lesson very soon. So thank you so much, and see you in the next lesson. I already said that, but I'll see you then. All right, so for the live stream attendees, I'm still here. I just want to do that for like when I piece the video together. Oops. There we go. That's the good one. I'm still used to getting used to the new setup here. Oops. Okay. Okay, you're 14, really. Flaunting his youth. Fire, look at the lowest and highest note. Okay, I don't know if you covered this on your old videos, but trying to learn a new piece. Problem is the proper fingering, and I seem to be running out of fingers. Yeah, so you want to look at your highest and lowest note that you have. So say your highest note that you have in the piece is G right here, and the lowest note is G, highest note is E. So you want to place your thumb on the lowest note, pinky on the highest note most of the time, because the highest note is as high as you have to go. So you're not going to have to go outside of the range of your fifth finger, and the lowest note is as low as you're going to need to go. So you're not going to have to escape, outside of your thumb. And then try to place your other fingers around the notes in the middle. You'll have to move your hand, and you'll have to move, fingers in between. But in general, you want to look at the bottom note of the range. You want to look at the range of the notes you have in the piece. So say again, the lowest note I have is A down here. The highest note I have in the piece is G up here. You want to align basically that your thumb is hitting down as low as this A, and pinky as high as the G. Now there's different, it's way more complicated than this. This is just a very general kind of thing because it makes sense. You're not going to have to worry about playing, if your highest note is G up here, it doesn't make sense to play a thumb, you know what I mean? Or even the middle finger, because you don't need to play any other notes than that. Now, that being said, you have to know about scales and understand where, you know, say I'm playing from this G down to the C and all the white keys in between. Well, it would make sense to use the fingering for a C major scale. So that's one of the reasons we learn our scales, is that you can apply the fingering for those scales in whatever key you're playing in for the melodic passages. It really, really helps. So those are just some quick tips that I have for you. Tim, are you in the Atlanta, Georgia area? I am not. I am in the Pennsylvania, Maryland kind of area. And do I give lessons? I do give, I can do Skype lessons. I'm going to set one up with Rich, I think, here pretty soon. And next couple of weeks, actually, because then some of my students will be on vacation. I'll have a little bit more time for that. But I do give lessons in my local area. So I do have students. I have 30 students or so. It might be a little bit less. It might be like 28 or so right now. I don't know. I haven't counted recently, but it's close to 30. I have 30 or so students that I drive to around in my local area, and that's what I do part of the time, and the other part of the time, which makes a full time. Actually, I feel like I do both full time because I do both all the time. But I teach locally, and then I also do the teaching on this channel, and then help people out through the website and things like that. So altogether, it keeps me very, very busy. Thanks. I'll have to study about scales, says Fireflower. You're very welcome there. Glad I could help out everybody today. If you are interested in learning more about piano and music, I'm at a loss for words today. Sometimes I get a little tired at these evening live streams, but I'm hanging together okay. Let me show you. So I have a website, pianolessonsontheweb.com. So if you like what you see from me over here on the channel and you want more, you like the same types of videos I have here, but it's not just videos. It's instructional videos along with printable sheet music examples, assignments, real songs to play, and a whole lot more to enhance your learning. You can read about it here on the website. I highly recommend you head over there and learn all about it. You can browse what courses we have. I have over 25 courses, I believe, over many different subjects: piano, music theory, rhythm, improvisation, sight reading, and ear training. I'm going to be making some more ear training courses pretty soon, but as you can see, the music theory and piano have the most courses, since those are the two real main topics, which all the other ones are centered around. So I really highly recommend you check that out if you are looking for more and you do like the videos here on the channel. If you have any questions about that, feel free to let me know. Bummer, I don't know how to Skype. Okay. And unfortunately, I can't drive to Atlanta, Georgia. That's a little far for me, but that's okay. Oops. There we go. Getting used to this thing now. All right, everybody. I think it's only 8:45 or so. It's kind of a shorter lesson here today. Sometimes they work out like that. So one of the things I said in the outro is make sure to check out the playlists on the channel. I think that's the main thing, because a lot of people, I think, overlook that. They watch one or two videos and then they might get confused because they don't know where to start from or where to go. So if you go on the playlist page on the channel, that's really where you want to go to see the content in the order that it was intended to be seen in. Andre asks, Tim, what is the ideal practice time? How long and how frequent? Wait, Aaron says, stopping. Aaron was here with us earlier today. Welcome, Aaron. Tim, what is the ideal practice time? How long and how frequent? I would practice as close to 7 days a week as possible. If it's 5 days a week, that's fine. If it's 3 days a week, you could try to do a little bit better. Anything less than 3 days a week, and you might be in trouble. You might not make a whole lot of progress. You can make some progress with 3 days a week. 5 days a week is better, and then 7 days a week is optimal. The allergies are here again. Hold on. I felt like I was gonna sneeze. Wow, that was really unsatisfying. I when you have to sneeze and you can't. Okay. Ideal practice time. 7 days a week is optimal. And then when in terms of how long to play, you can practice if you're just starting out first few weeks, 15 minutes. But if you are a beginner, I recommend half an hour. If you want to move to an intermediate player, I recommend at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half would be great. 2 hours would be great too. That's on the far end of the intermediate. If you want to start moving from the intermediate into the advanced, I recommend 2 to 4 hours. If you're looking to get into the professional scene and the performance scene, you want to shoot for close to 8 hours a day. But honestly, for most of us who have other things going on in our lives, we're not learning piano to play in front of Carnegie Hall. You can probably get away with an hour if you've been learning piano for a little while and you're ready to step it up from being a beginner, but at least half an hour, and like I said, close to 7 days a week as possible. Depends. Personally, I practice an hour every day, but that's pretty good. When recitals and competition, I play much more. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. When I was working for my senior recital, I was practicing at least 4 hours a day, sometimes even more than that. Okay. All right. Any other questions, real quick, before we go? If not, we'll meet again on Sunday. It was great having everybody out again. It's so cool, and I say this quite frequently now, but I always remember back to a year and a half ago when we just started out the live stream, and there was like Rich was here, and Chess was here, and I think there was another student, Manny, that was here, and then like maybe one or two others. We would only get like 4 people a live stream. I'm serious. I remember like actually that was even like last summer. So, now not all the live streams. Some of the live streams we had over 10 people, which was okay for what we were doing at the time. But we have so many people coming in now, and it's just really really awesome. Shin says, thanks, Tim. Gotta go. Bye. But that's all right, Shin. Glad to have you with us again today. Glad to have everybody out with us. I'll see you all on Sunday. So, if there's not any last minute comments or questions, I'm going to say adieu, and I will see you on, or bid you adieu, and I will see you again on Sunday for our live stream Q&A. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight, and I will see you real soon. Let's see. I get addicted. I can't sleep if I don't practice. I lose sleep in both situations. Well, that's not a good situation to be in. I try not to lose sleep if ever possible. I love sleep, to tell you the truth. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those people that can sleep into the mid-afternoon. That drives me crazy when people do that. Because when I do that, which hasn't happened in at least 10 years, I feel like I've wasted my day. So I usually wake up at around 7 o'clock or so, maybe even 8 o'clock if I'm splurging. And that's considered late for me. But I never really get up that early either. I mean, unless it's a rare occasion, I'll get up at 5:30, 6 o'clock. But most times it's 7 to 8. Oh, Fuddy Duddy reminded me opening and closing tunes would be nice. I forgot to open with one, as I always do. Aaron Barclay, I'll do the performance here in a second. I have to rewatch this. I couldn't make it to the beginning. I hope to be here on Sunday. Well, that's all right. The recording will be up soon. Feel free to check it out, and I'll see you on Sunday, hopefully. Bye, Tim. Hope I can make it on Sunday. All right, let's play something. I don't know. What should I play, huh? What do you think? Okay, let me take a look. Ooh. I've overlooked something. Really? I didn't. Well, what I could do, I don't have my music files on here because I thought I made a smart move, and I don't think I did. I'm gonna have to make a compromise and move those over a little bit later. So let me look. How about actually? Um, some lists. I don't have any lists ready to play. I would have to practice that. As I said, I'm more into the teaching side of things these days, and with all the craziness going on in the other side of my life, my personal life, I haven't had much time to get anything performance ready. So I'm going to stick with something that I know pretty well. I do want to get back into practicing though, into like getting things ready, for more of a performance setting. I don't plan on doing performances because I'm too busy, but I would like to get into, making goals of like, all right, I'm going to learn this piece this month, this piece the next month. But things have just been too hectic to do that with. Okay, let's see here. Or if I feel ambitious, Rachmaninoff, Led Zeppelin, improvise. I can improvise. I can play this sonata, this movement of a sonata. I don't want to play the whole thing, that would take too long. Oh, good, this is the good version. I don't know how I found that. Okay. Let's do this. Ignore that request then. Actually, let me change some settings here. There you go. Gotta move this up. Oh no, I looked over at the chat. I don't know where I am. Let's try this. Okay, Cheryl says, I'm back, had a phone call, and I missed everything. Oh, sorry about that. John Cage, 433. Can you play me and Sebastian's theme, because I need to learn it for piano lessons. I don't know that one, Pandacraft Gaming. Me and Sebastian's theme. What is that from? I've heard that before. If I can find it really easy. Oh, thank you very much, Fuddy Duddy. Thank you very much. All right, it says La La Land theme. Is that it? I don't know if this is it. Oops. Excellent way to start your morning, says Aaron Barclay. So let me know, Pandacraft, if this is the right one. That's it. Okay. Let me see what I got here. Let me take a look. Oops. Okay. Oops. Oops. Then whatever it is on the next one. Let me start it again. Oh, well, it won't let me. Are you serious? Okay. Well, it kind of lets me do that. That kind of works. But it won't let me zoom in. That could be a problem. Okay, let me try this. Alright, let's start one more time. Oops. Oh, a new section. Let's see here. Oops. Goes. Oh, getting tricky. Really? Wait, what? Weird. Okay. Oh, no, I'm playing it in a wrong spot. Sorry about that. Still really weird right there, huh? not playing the rest of it. All right, I'm not going to play the rest of that. It gets a little bit more complicated from there. I mean, I could kind of figure it out, but... So, PandaCraft Gaming, is there any like questions you had about playing it that I could answer for you? It sounds beautiful. I know, it is a very, very nice piece. And how's it going with you, PandaCraft? Is it sounding good? Justin did a pretty Hurwitz did a pretty good job on that film. No match for Whiplash, though. I actually haven't seen it, unfortunately. All right, everybody. So I'm beginning to run out of steam. It's probably around 9 o'clock anyway, so we're gonna wrap it up here in the next couple of minutes. If you have any last minute, comments there, or if you're PandaCraft and you have like a quick question about the piece, let me know. If not, I'll talk to you all on a Sunday, where we will just be having our community get together once again. So you know who it is. It's been Tim from Lessons on the Web. Thanks for coming out tonight, and I'll talk to you real soon. So I'll just stick around here for another minute or two. Say goodbye to everybody. Let me say bye to everybody. Okay. Thank you to the fine people. Aaron, PandaCraft, Fireflower, Aaron again, Fuddy Duddy. You got Cheryl Faye back again. Thank you so much for coming. We got I keep forgetting your name. I'm really sorry. Fireflower, L. Norris back with us again. I don't know if it might have been your first time here today, actually. Let's see. Andre was back with us again. Thank you for coming out. Shin. Fireflower, I already thanked you. Rich, of course, if I didn't thank you already, thanks for coming out again tonight. Rich, I think I got to everybody. Oh, we have Jimena. Thank you for coming out earlier. Barbara, great to have you with us. Mimicked, thanks. Claudia, thanks for coming. And I already thanked Cheryl. All right. Will this be recorded? Yes, this will be recorded, and you can watch it probably within a couple of hours, I would say. It might even be posted right away, but I do have to do the edits to edit out the beginning part. I really want to learn church music. Yes, first time. All right, well, awesome having you out with us. You're always welcome back again, and it was a pleasure. Maybe in one of the other live streams during the Q&A section, you can ask me about, playing church hymnals or something like that, and maybe I can provide you with some useful advice on that. All right, thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night. I'll talk to you on Sunday, and we'll go from there. So thanks a lot.